I'm in Washington, D.C. today to interview a global humanitarian and spiritual leader, Gurudev. Thank you very much for being with us. So let me ask you about your various missions. You are a person who is trying to make people happy by teaching them meditation and other kinds of things that make people happy. You're also trying to bring peace to the world by talking to various countries that might be at war. What do you find more satisfying? Trying to bring peace between two countries or within a country, or trying to get individuals to learn how to breathe better and to meditate better and to be happier?
Both. It's the individual who form a country. Without individual, there is no country, right? And the decisions that are taken are individuals. The conflicts arise because of individuals' lack of communication.
I see.
So they are so linked.
Well, let's talk about one of your missions, for example, which is to teach people how to be happier. And happiness is presumably one of the purposes of life, is to figure out how to be happy. One of the ways that you have tried to do that is to teach people meditation.
And breathe.
And
breathing.
And breathing.
Techniques. Yeah.
Well, when did you first realize how important breathing was? You discovered this by yourself, and then tell me the secret of breathing, because I'm not probably a good breather.
Well, we all breathe, everyone breathes. There are certain rhythm in the breath. If you observe, for every emotion there is a particular rhythm in the breath pattern also. So it was in 81 I discovered that there is a different pattern for different emotions and different states of mind.
Okay.
Only in theatrical college they teach you a little bit about how to breathe when you want to express anger, when you want to express love or compassion. But other than that, it's a highly guarded secret, I would say.
So let's suppose I don't really know how to breathe. What is the best way to learn? How long does it take to learn how to breathe properly?
It just takes a couple of days to learn different patterns of breathing.
Okay. And so when people learn how to breathe better, you find that they are calmer.
They're calmer, they are more focused, they are more mindful, and they're more energetic all the more.
And what about stress? I'm a person that's under a lot of stress. Some people say stress isn't good for you. Do you think stress is good, a little bit of stress, or you try to take all stress out of people's lives?
I would say a little bit stress occasionally is good.
Okay.
But on a daily basis, no. It takes a toll on your health.
Now, I'm a person who has never done meditation. I'm not a meditator. People tell me I should meditate, but I have never done that. So tell me why I should learn how to meditate. Why is that going to make my life better?
First of all, you want to be more energetic, right? And you want to have the fog in the mind that happens so often when we are tired to go away. You want clarity in your perception. That can happen through meditation. Today, there are more than 100 benefits of meditation that scientists have come up with many papers on it. It helps your immune system, it boosts your immune system, it gives you a good deep sleep, and then it helps you to control all the stress hormones in the system.
Right.
And moreover, it just brings natural happiness from within you.
How long does it take to learn how to meditate?
Oh, I would say 2 hours or 1 hour each day for 3-4 days you can be
But
on.
you learn how to do it?
Yeah, and then you can be on your own.
And then do people, if you're going to meditate and get the benefits of it, do you do it every day?
Preferably every day, 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
And when you measure people who are meditating, their heart rate, I assume, is down and their stress rate is down?
Stress rate is down, their heart rate is better, their breathing pattern improves, their blood pressure is under control, and they feel generally more energetic in the body.
So in our country, in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson famously wrote that part of life is about the pursuit of happiness.
Correct.
But he never actually defined how one achieves happiness. In your view, how does one achieve happiness? Is it by meditating, de-stressing yourself? What are the keys to happiness?
The key to happiness is keep stress at bay. Second is communicate better with your surroundings, with your people, and all that.
Right.
Third, have a mission in life to do some service to to the world you are in or society you are in. If you're just sitting and thinking, "What about me?" it's not going to make you happy.
So would you regard yourself as a happy person?
Of course.
You're happy.
And that's how I could teach.
Okay. So let's talk about how you became such a global spiritual leader. Where were you born?
I was born in south of India.
And your parents, were they spiritual leaders, or what did
No,
they do?
my father was in automobile industry.
And so when
He
you,
had his business, and then my mother is a artist. She was an artist. She would play veena, and she's a
and when
scholar.
you were growing up, did they say you should be a lawyer, a doctor, or something, or did they say you should be a spiritual leader? What did they say? And when you told them you were going to be a spiritual leader, did they say that's not a good profession?
Initially, my mother was a little reluctant what I'm doing. She was, of course. But I grew up with a teacher who was with Mahatma Gandhi for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And so this man was in jail with Mahatma Gandhi. So I grew up with him. Under his guidance, he used to teach me some Sanskrit, language and verses. This gentleman used to tell us a lot of stories about non-violence and how Mahatma Gandhi at various incidences.
So when you were growing up, you went to school like most
Yeah.
kids, and
I
then
took a degree in physics.
physics. So you were a physics major. Did you want to be a physicist, or why did you take physics?
Yeah, I love physics. And then, I love astronomy. I love physics.
And so,
I'm a science graduate, basically.
all right, when you graduated from college, you graduated. What did you then do? You didn't go get a regular job. You became a spiritual leader. How did you get out of getting a regular job?
Oh, it was very natural for me. I went to an interview for a job
Right.
interview, but I ended up teaching them meditation.
I see.
So it was a very funny.
Did your
situation.
parents say, please get a real job, or they just said, do whatever you want? They didn't care?
They said they found that what I was doing is very good, and then
Now, the famous
they supported me all the way through.
there was a famous Maharishi
Mahesh
Yogi, very famous in the 1960s and 70s.
Right.
Now, did you ever meet him?
Oh yes, because I was a scholar in Vedic knowledge, so he had invited me to have dialogue with the scientists, science and Veda science conferences. He had all over the world.
Now, did he?
At that time, he picked me up to come and speak. I was very young. I was in my 20s. So I came and joined him to give the seminars.
And did he teach you how to meditate, or you already knew how to meditate?
I was doing, but of course, I learned from him too a lot of things. Yeah.
And there were many people in that era, the 60s and 70s, who went to India to learn how to meditate. The Beatles were very famous people. I don't think you ever met the Beatles, right?
No.
But did you ever meet a lot of people who came from Western society, who came to India to learn how to meditate or be more tranquil? Did you see a lot of those people?
Oh yeah. It has been there a long time.
So how did you build your practice of getting to know, have people follow you? In other words, today, many people, we have videos, we have YouTube, we have social media.
In those days, there were none of those.
Right.
Exist.
So how did
Not
you
even
get people
cell phone.
how did people know about you?
Well, I started teaching this breathing technique, and my first batch of students were about 8 doctors from the town I was in the south of India. They loved it so much, so they told their friends, their patients. And so we called it in the beginning the Healing Breath Workshop, because people found a lot of healing happening through these 2-day seminars. Then I happened to go to New Delhi, where I gave a class for all the embassies, the ambassadors of various countries.
When you were doing this initially, it was in India, principally.
Absolutely, yeah.
And when did people outside of India begin to hear about you?
There was one, Paul Cooper, who was a mission from, American mission from, to India. He was an ambassador there in
Right.
India. He came to learn from me. And then there was a ambassador from UK to India. So these embassies and their spouses, the ambassadors and their spouses, they learned. Then they said, oh, look, this is what we need in our country. We would like you to come to Europe and teach. Then I went to Europe. Then I went to Italy. I taught in Vatican to the nuns and to the brothers there.
So you had followers who were liked your message, and then you would hold a speech or seminar, and they would come, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But did your parents say, how do you support yourself? How do you get money for food or transportation, or where did you get money to kind of keep doing this?
You know, my father initially supported me for all that I was doing. He found a value in what I was doing. And then we, started charging a little bit for our seminars, so it was self-sustainable.
And did you have brothers and sisters who said
I have only one sister.
And what did she say about all this?
Oh, she's very beautiful. She was very sweet. She always supported me. Yeah.
Okay, so you began to do more and more of this outside of India. You made speeches. When did you begin to attract, tens of thousands of people at your events? Was that in the 1990s or in the early part of this century?
Way back in 80s.
The 80s, you were getting. All right, so today, on a typical year, you will make how many presentations in front of large audiences? Is it 60 a year, 50 a year, and the audiences can be as large as 100,000 people or something?
You don't want to know. I give usually 260, 270 seminars every year.
How many a year?
260.
200. Wow, that's a lot. So don't you get tired ever? You don't
Do
get
I
tired?
look tired?
Well, you don't get tired at all?
I know the formula. If I get tired, I know what I should do.
So I am doing a TV series on longevity, and I just interviewed a sleep expert, and they say you really need 8 hours of sleep a day. But in your case, do you need 8 hours?
3 to 4 hours.
3 or 4? Oh, wow, that's not enough sleep, is it?
Yeah, but meditation, I don't know.
Okay, so today you are traveling around, you're doing several hundred events a year, and then you also have programs like on television or social media. So do you ever take any time off just to relax and just get away from all of this?
I do take a week of silence every year
Where do you go for that?
I stay wherever I am. I just keep silence, that's all.
But your main home, is in India or is it everywhere?
I have a home everywhere.
Everywhere.
I stay half the time in US and in India and a little bit in Europe.
Right. So in this country, when people are famous, as you obviously are in this country and around the world, when you walk outside or you go on an airplane or you go somewhere, people want a picture, autographs. How do you deal with that? How do you say, you're supposed to be a very, very polite person, right? You're supposed to make people happy. How do you make them happy by saying, I'm too busy to have a selfie with you?
No, I never reject any.
You don't reject it?
No.
Okay. So
I think I have enough patience to handle
right.
that.
So as you build your movement further and further and everybody around the world gets to know you, eventually people will ask you the inevitable question, who is your successor? Do you have somebody that you're training who can do what you're doing 100 years from now or 50 years from now?
Well, I have disseminated this teaching for a number of teachers. We have 35,000 teachers around the globe today. And each one of them is a leader.
Okay, so you're not going to pick anybody to be your successor?
Not as of now, but they'll emerge on their own there.
Now, in your belief system, is there one God or is there multiple gods?
No, it's one God, but can be worshipped in many forms and many names.
But when you believe in one God in many different forms, but do you pray to that God or you don't pray in the traditional Western sense?
Well, praying is just one aspect of spirituality. Praying is like, oh God, thank you for this, or please give me this. But meditation is, hey, look, I am here. What do you want to say to me?
Okay.
So listening to what the nature has for you.
Right. So let's talk about your efforts to bring peace to the countries, because you spend a lot of time trying to get countries to cooperate and not fight, kill each other. and also within a country. So how did you get into the world of meditating, or mediating, I should say, mediating these kind of disputes? And when did you start doing that, and are you doing that all the time now?
Yeah, I'm doing it all the time. There are different ethnic groups who fight. For example, in India, we had this Leninist Marxist group, and then the mainstream, what in India used to call as Red Terror. And so I have been having dialogue with them, bringing them change of mindset. And then one of the most successful one, as you know, is the FARC.
Right.
In Colombia,
Yes, the FARC group.
FARC group in Colombia.
So, and you help there, but let's say, take right now, the two of the biggest disputes going on in the world are in Gaza, between Israel and Gaza, and in Ukraine and Russia. If President Trump called you up and said, look, I can't solve these myself, got any good ideas, what would you tell him he should do?
Oh yeah, I would not prepare that, something in the mind. I would say at that moment, spontaneously, whatever idea I come, I will bring it up.
So have you ever met presidents of the United States? Have you ever met?
I have met President Bush.
President Bush?
Yeah, and then I've met President Joe Biden.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And so do they listen to you for advice, or do they ask you how to meditate better, or they don't do that?
No, well, it was just a formal meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to see you, like when people want to see the president, they go to the Oval Office of the White House. Somebody wants to see you, where do they go to meet you typically?
Oh, anywhere.
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 So you have facilities all over the world now.
Not all over the world, but many places of the world.
So if you want to go from one country to another country, I assume you use an airplane, a commercial airplane.
Yeah.
And do people bother you on the airplane, say, I want a picture, I want an autograph? How do you get away with that?
I don't consider it as botheration.
It's
but
not bothering.
They have small desires, small wishes, and when I can fulfill them, I do.
Okay. So many people say that the key to living long life is also doing two things in addition to having good genes: exercising and eating well. So do you exercise a lot?
Yeah, not a lot, but
enough.
Yeah, enough.
And you're not lifting weights, so I see you're walking.
I do.
Oh, you lift weights.
I do that also.
Okay. And what about eating? Do you eat meat? Would you eat meat?
No.
Would you drink alcohol?
I'm a vegetarian. No.
No alcohol, no meat.
Alcohol, no.
So what's a healthy thing to eat? Vegetables, fruit?
Yeah, fresh fruits, vegetables, a little bit of grain.
Fish?
And protein.
Fish, you don't eat fish?
No fish.
Many times people who are your age or my age say the next generation is not such good as this generation. Do you think the younger generation is actually going to be okay, or do you get nervous when you see them?
In our programs, a lot of younger generation. You'll see even here, the Gen Zs, and then the younger generation is very active in this.
So,
see, they have a bigger vision. Young generation are not consumeristic in nature at all. They are thinking big. Right. They want to care for environment. They are more into, social activities.
So sometimes younger people want to feel better, and one of the ways they do that is they take marijuana or drugs or things like that, which I assume you would say is not such a good thing to do.
I tell them, don't waste your energy, money, and your health doing these things. When you can do it with your own breath and meditation, that's a sense of upliftment or elevation.
And some people say drinking alcohol is bad. I don't drink alcohol, but some people say wine is good for you. Do you have a view on wine? Is that a good thing, or you don't believe in that?
And I don't believe in that, because I say, soft drinks are better.
So in this case, if you're traveling around the world, how much of your time are you actually in, let's say, India? Is that just 1 out of 12 months a year, or is it relatively small now?
Well, in India, I spent a couple of months, 2-3 months. Yeah.
Now, a couple of years ago, I think you were on the mall in Washington, D.C., where you had, it seemed like 100,000 people or more. Is it unusual?
1.1 million people.
1.1 million, okay. So I was...
We had the World Culture Festival.
What's the biggest group you've ever spoken in front of?
3.75 million people.
Where?
In India, in New Delhi.
2.75 million?
3.75 million.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And do people get to come in for free, or?
Yeah, free.
Free. So how do you pay for all the cost of getting all that
You know,
organized?
there are philanthropists like you, very
Philanthropists,
generous, and they
okay.
all come and help out.
All right. So when you're speaking in front of a million people, doesn't that make you nervous? No? You never get nervous. You
No,
don't get nervous?
No, not at all.
And how many times do people come up to you and thank you for what you've done to help their lives? Does that happen a lot?
Almost every
Every
day.
day. Now, your sister is still alive?
Yeah, yeah.
And
She's
is she-
younger to me.
And does she call you with advice from time to time, or she doesn't listen to what you say?
Oh yeah, she does a lot of social work.
Okay.
She manages the International Women's Wing, women's
Okay.
conferences, and she takes care of free schools we run, you know. We have 1,200 free schools in India. So she manages those schools. More than 120,000
Well,
children are.
now your parents are not alive, correct?
No, they are
When, before they passed away, did they say, we're really proud of what you did and what you did with your life? Or they're very happy with you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were quite happy.
And they never said you should go be a doctor or a lawyer. They're very happy with what you did.
I got honorary doctorate without
Okay.
studying medicine.
So today, as we speak in Washington, D.C., we have lots of problems in the United States. We have lots of problems around the world. If you were to advise a president of the United States, what would you say a president of the United States should do that would be better for the country or the world if he did what?
You know, advices are very personal. You don't take it beforehand, and you know, when
Okay.
I meet anybody, I meet with them as a clean slate, like a mirror. So at that moment, if I get some advice, if I feel I need to, I just give them.
So you meet religious leaders around the world. Have you ever met, for example, the Pope?
Yeah, yeah.
And do you give advice to the Pope on how to be able to meditate, or he doesn't need advice?
No. We just meet and you know, talk about the general situation in the world, how we can bring peace, interfaith dialogues. I have participated in many interfaith dialogues.
And you met Jewish leaders, rabbis?
Oh yeah.
And so,
I have been invited by Shimon Peres. He was a very
Okay.
good friend of ours. And then twice I have been there. Thrice I have been to Israel
wow.
on his invitation. Yeah.
Okay. So today,
And I have met many rabbis there. Wonderful people. They're wonderful.
now India has a country that has some challenges with Pakistan, its traditional rival. Do you think that rivalry will go on for a long time, India and Pakistan?
You know, the problem is terrorism. Other than that, culturally people are same. You know, there is trade and there is music and you know, cinema exchanges are all happening. The main impediment between India and Pakistan is the terrorism there.
What about India and
I have
China?
been there thrice to Pakistan. People are, I tell you, they are so good people.
What about China? China's a rival of India as well. You think there's a problem that can be resolved there between India and China?
Oh yeah. Prime Minister Modi has stretched his hand, and President Xi Jinping has arrived in India many times.
Now the
And
dominant,
I think a very good beginning has happened there, which was, it was in a cold storage for so long.
the dominant religion in India is Hindu.
Correct.
But do you regard yourself as a member of the Hindu religion, or you're different?
Of course, my name suggests I'm a
Right.
Hindu. My parents and my upbringing is all Hindu, yeah.
So if somebody asks you what your religion is, you would say you're Hindu,
Yeah, of course.
but you do it differently. You have a different twist on it than the average person, I guess. So,
Yeah, I feel that, you know, every religion has something to offer to the world. They all have wisdom. So we must not be rigid in any of our thinking. We should
Right.
embrace all the wisdom in the world. That's basically Hinduism is more or less a way of life rather than following very strict rules of a particular
now,
philosophy.
in life generally, people, everybody I know, has some moments when they're depressed, they're not feeling happy. You ever have a moment when you're not happy, maybe other than this interview or something like that? You're ever not happy?
Well, yeah, when you see unhappy people, you did reflect that. Because you always feel that I could do more to them,
I see.
you know. It's not your happiness. It's not like a gaga happiness, something. It's not a wishy-washy thing. It's something very practical.
Now, when you have your sessions in front of many people, hundreds of thousands of people, millions, do you do it all in English or do you speak other languages?
I speak 8 languages.
How many?
8.
8. I only have 1, English. So you do...
I do. I speak in English, Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu, and all these languages. Yeah.
And you're fluent in all of those?
Yeah.
That takes a long time to...
That was my advantage being in the south of India. It's a Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, the city where I grew up. Because it's in the junction of all the 3 states of the South India, I could pick up all the other languages.
Now, in modern civilization, there's a ubiquitous device. It's called a cell phone. See this, like a cell phone. I assume you don't have a cell phone.
I do have.
Oh, you do? And so...
I have 2.
2 of
one
them.
American and one Indian.
And do you call people all the time and they call you or...
I take messages.
Oh, so
You don't want to know how many messages I get per
How do
day.
you respond to these people? Do you just take time to get the one? I mean, how did people get your number?
Yeah. People get it.
They get it and they send you a message?
Yeah.
And you listen or you don't listen or?
Yeah, I do respond to them. Not immediately, though it takes a couple of days for me to respond to all the messages.
Right.
I get on an average 5,000 to 6,000 messages per day.
5,000 to 6,000 messages a day. So do you have somebody that can field them for you or something?
Yeah, I have a couple of secretaries.
So like if somebody important wants to get a hold of you, like the President of the United States, and he sends you a message, somebody can figure out that he's trying to get you. Okay? And so today, have you ever thought about what would have happened to your life if you had gone in a different direction? You ever thought you would be happier or sadder if you had become a lawyer or a doctor? You don't think about anything like that?
No, I think any role I get in my life, I would play it 100%, and I will be happy doing anything.
Now, there used to be a very famous person that worked with me in my firm named Secretary James A. Baker III, Secretary of State. He worked under President George Herbert Walker Bush. And he's now about to be 95 years old. But he told me in recent years he's learned how to do yoga. And he said it's really good for you. So do you do yoga?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And you think it's good for
I'm the chairperson of Indian Yoga Association.
So what is
the
yoga?
umbrella institution of all yoga institutions in India.
I've never done yoga, but what does it do for
You can't say that.
Really?
As a child, you have done all the yoga.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I never consciously did yoga, but tell me, as an old man now, should I be doing yoga to stay alive or be in better shape? What is yoga going to do for me?
Oh yes, yoga makes your joint more flexible. You
Okay.
can stay very fit. And you know, yoga impacts your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your digestive system, and electrical system in the brain. It helps you a lot.
Okay. So, do you regard yourself as a spiritual leader or a religious leader?
No, I leave that for people to
Okay.
see whatever they
So,
want.
I think sometimes you have spiritual leaders who marry people. Do you ever marry people, or you don't do that?
No, well, of course, when people after marriage they come for blessings.
Oh.
I have to bless them.
So you bless them.
I just bless them, yeah.
And do people ever come to you and say, "We're thinking of getting divorced, and can you help us stay together?" Or that doesn't?
Oh yeah, we do counseling for them too.
Really, that helps. Okay. So,
Mediation helps there.
all right. What is the thing that makes you the happiest in life? Is it doing an interview like
it's
this, or
not-
what?
You know, happiness is your own state. It's not doing something makes you happy. When we realize we are happiness ourselves.
So at certain ages, people begin to recognize that they're mortal, and they begin to plan for what might happen if they're not around. And you haven't reached that stage. You are thinking you're going to live to be 100 or something, and
No, I just
you don't worry about that.
not worry about it at all.
Today, you're going to do this interview, but how many people do you meet in a typical day? People come to meet with you. Is it a dozen, 10?
When I'm in India, you know, before I used to meet every day. I have restricted now for 2 days when I meet the public, everybody. That comes to about 5,000 people a day.
Okay.
So twice a day I do about 10,000 people.
And the person,
And on a daily basis, there'll be a couple of hundred people.
if I want to take a message away from my session with you, the message is I should meditate, I should de-stress, relax. But some people like to have stress. I like to always be active, moving forward. You think that's bad for me?
No, you act, be active. I mean, you can't be but active.
Right.
But then you should take a little time to relax as well.
Relax. Okay, so today you would say that your mission is at its peak right now. You're more popular probably than you've ever been in your life, right? Right now you've got millions of people, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people watching you.
Yeah.
So what is the main message somebody's watching this who's a follower of yours you'd want to convey to them? The main message that you would want to convey to somebody watching now is that they should learn how to meditate better, de-stress their life, and have a peaceful life, no war, no fighting.
I would say have a vision in life for yourself. A violence-free, stress-free society. Disease-free body. Confusion-free mind. Inhibition-free intellect. Trauma-free memory. Sorrow-free soul. So today we feel a lot of loneliness that people are undergoing.
Right.
And to get rid of loneliness is coming out and knowing that there are people around you who love you, who care for you, and have that community feeling with everybody. And instead of sitting and brooding over the past or being anxious about the future, see what you can do, you can contribute and bring more positivity in the atmosphere.
Well, it's very impressive what you've achieved in a relatively short period of time. You're maybe one of the best known people in the world, I guess, and you have a lot of followers, so I congratulate you on that. And I'll try to meditate someday when I can figure out how to do that and de-stress myself. And by the way, people, you've written a number of books. And so how many books have you written? It's like a dozen or something?
It's usually the talks I have given, and that has been compiled as a book.
I see.
One that is a bestseller in America is The Journey Within. Yeah.
I see. All right. Well, congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
And thank you for giving me this much time.
This is the book, Notes for the Journey
All right.
Within.
All right. So you're always smiling. You don't never like frown. You don't frown. You're always smiling, right? You're always happy. Okay. Well, I am going to now your name. You have the name you were born with. What was the name you were born with?
Ravi Shankar.
Ravi Shankar.
Right.
Now there was a very famous musician.
Sitar player, yes,
But
musician.
is that a common name, Ravi Shankar?
Right.
And so the Shri is part of that. You added that later.
Yeah, I did.
And then Gurudev is kind of an honorary title.
Yes.
I see. So your friends, they call you
Gurudev.
Good day. And do you have friends that might call you up in a given night and say, come on over for dinner or something, or come to watch a movie? You don't do that.
I know they will be in trouble because a lot of people will come.
So, okay, so you don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, of course, people do invite me for dinner, but it's not never one-to-one. It will be a bunch of people. They invite all their friends, and they invite me, and so we end up having some fun there.
Okay. Well, very impressive. Congratulations on what you've achieved, and I will look forward to reading this book, and maybe I'll be less stressed in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.